The day my father died, my own brother had me arrested before I could even attend his funeral. I still remember the cold steel of the handcuffs pressing against my wrists while my father's coffin was being carried into the church. People stared at me. Some whispered. Others pulled out their phones. I wanted to scream that I had done nothing wrong. Instead, a police officer leaned closer and quietly said, "Ma'am, you're under arrest for stealing $50 million from your own father." I couldn't even process the accusation. Steal? From the man who had raised me alone after my mother died? It made no sense. Across the parking lot, my older brother Ethan stood beside his wife. He wasn't crying. He wasn't angry. He was smiling. That smile told me something was terribly wrong. My name is Claire Anderson, and until that morning, I believed my family loved me. I had no idea they had spent the last 18 months preparing to erase me from my own father's life. 5 years earlier, my father suffered a massive stroke. He survived. But the strongest businessman I had ever known suddenly needed help walking, eating, and even remembering simple things. Ethan lived only 20 minutes away, yet he rarely visited. He always claimed he was too busy expanding his real estate business. So I quit my job. I moved back into my father's house. Every morning, I helped him take his medication. Every afternoon, I pushed his wheelchair through the garden he loved. Every night, I sat beside him until he fell asleep. Those were the hardest years of my life, but I never regretted them, because he was my father. One evening, he called me into his study. His hands trembled as he unlocked an old wooden drawer. Inside was a faded photograph of my mother and a small silver key. "Claire," he whispered, "never let Ethan find what's inside the red box." I looked around the room. "What red box?" He smiled weakly. "You'll understand one day." Before I could ask another question, he changed the subject. At the time, I assumed his illness had confused him. I was wrong. 3 months later, my father passed away peacefully in his sleep. I barely had time to process the loss before Ethan arrived with lawyers. He immediately ordered me to leave the house. "Dad wanted me to handle everything now," he said. I refused. That was when he made a phone call. Less than 30 minutes later. Police officers arrived. Ethan handed them a thick folder. Inside were bank statements, transfer records, and signed financial documents. Every single one of them claimed I had secretly transferred $50 million from my father's investment accounts. The signatures looked exactly like mine. Even I couldn't tell they were fake. I was arrested in front of relatives, neighbors, and reporters. As the police car pulled away, I looked back at my childhood home. Ethan was already changing the locks. I spent 2 nights in county jail before my attorney secured my release. He placed a file on the table. "Claire, someone planned this very carefully. Every forged document had been created over the past year. Someone had copied my signature dozens of times. Whoever did it knew my handwriting better than I did." "Do you think Ethan did this?" I asked. My lawyer didn't answer. Instead, he slid another photograph across the table. It showed Ethan meeting secretly with my father's financial advisor 6 months before Dad died. That same evening, I returned to my father's house to collect a few personal belongings. The locks had been changed. Most of my things were gone. Only one object remained: an old gardening glove hanging inside the shed. It seemed completely ordinary, until I reached inside. My fingers touched something cold. It was the small silver key my father had shown me months earlier. Taped inside the glove was a handwritten note, only 5 words. "The red box is real." My heart started pounding. If the red box really existed, then my father had known something terrible was coming. And whatever was inside that box was important enough for someone to frame me for stealing $50 million. I looked toward the house. The upstairs bedroom light suddenly turned on. Someone was standing behind the curtain, watching me. And in that moment, I realized my nightmare had only just begun. Claire has found the mysterious silver key. But where is the red box? And why is someone secretly watching her from inside her own childhood home? In episode 2, the search for the red box begins, and Claire uncovers a hidden room her father never wanted anyone else to find.